CBD, L-theanine. So, yeah. 3, 2, 1. Hi guys, this is Felix from SS1 Performance. Welcome to episode 2 of the RAVE calories experiments. So last time I took this lifted pre-workout, which is all about sort of maximizing energy. There's 300 milligrams of caffeine and 200 milligrams of L-theanine. There's a whole load of other stuff here that is more like, physiologically sort of advantageous in terms of what it's doing like inside the muscle and stuff like that. What I'm more interested in when it comes to this kind of stuff is actually the kind of like nootropics, the stuff that's kind of going to affect your brain and your sort of perception and your nervous system in some ways, rather than necessarily what kind of happens inside the muscle. The two supplements that I've got are CBD. I got a green stem, the 3000 milligram one, which has got a 10% CBD content. And then we've got L-theanine, which is the same thing that was in lifted, except these are just L-theanine tablets basically. Each one of these tablets is 400 milligrams. Combining with the CBD, I'm going to explain a little bit, but I'll probably do it in my car on the way to the gym. Basically, the first episode was all about, understanding the inspiration for these videos or this series. I posted a video on Reddit, so I've already started speaking to a fefew people on there. I'm just about to hopefully get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, which was my target for the first 3 months. So if anyone does watch this and you kind of think it's interesting, then just subscribe, because honestly that would be really good if I could sort of kind of get this out to more people. Choosing your rave experience, bridging the gap in rave and fitness cultures. Incredible. So, experiment 1 versus experiment 2. So I wanted to develop the design my night combinations of nootropics and understand how a different style of drum and bass affects my biomechanics, movement and flow. It's going to be really interesting, to me anyway, and probably very few other people. The first experiment, within 10 minutes, I burnt 123 calories in 10 minutes. So, not that I'm I could do this in my head, but it's just going to get embarrassing. But 123 times 6, right? That's 738 calories in an hour. This is valuable. 123 calories doesn't sound like much, but when you think it's only done in 10 minutes, that's quite a lot. But the purpose of experiment 1 was burn as much as possible anyway. So it's not kind of like extrapolating that well towards, if I was going to set up a rave that was, say, 3 hours long for the purpose of fitness, I'm not probably going to hit that amount of calorie burn within 10 minutes anyway. Episode 2, I reckon I'm going to burn around 80 to 100 calories in 10 minutes. The idea here is to actually have a laugh. I've actually learned to shuffle dance. Yeah, I took to it quite well because of the fact that I had breakdance, but the only thing that confused me was about this 4/4 timing thing. I didn't actually understand it, and then when I started doing it, I spent about 20 minutes doing it on Thursday, and then I spent about 20 minutes doing it on Friday. And now the idea is this focused energy. So this nootropic stack of L-theanine and CBD oil combined with this kind of liquid drum and bass will change the biomechanics and change the whole kind of way in which my body's moving due to the alterations within the nervous system, which I'll get onto in a second. The music in experiment 2 is liquid drum and bass. The way that I would describe these 3 songs is that they're much more emotional and melodic, more focus on instrumental melodies alongside the drum beat and bass lines. So we have Logistics, Secret Satellite featuring Zoe Phillips, Etherwood, The Rain Will Fall featuring LSB, and Ruth Royal, New Love featuring Makoto. So today I want to have a huge variation of motions. I'm going to start by playing this song, which is by Logistics. And then I'm going to start moving around in the intro through kind of cartwheels, handstands, that kind of flowy sort of stuff, and then see if I can hold any particular position. But then it's going to move into standard shuffle, combination of breakdancing, and then at the end I'm going to bring in a guy called Brad, whose only real way of keeping fit is actually raving. And Brad will probably come in on episode 3 with a heart rate monitor. The thing that I'm trying to do is to basically start looking at the general consumption of energy by people of different body types. What I'm quite interested in is what's the energy consumption difference between, you know, someone like myself who's sort of like a, I guess what you call like a slim athletic physique versus someone like Brad who's very tall, very slender, and, you know, has a completely different lifestyle to me. We're very different in terms of like how we train, how we eat, things like that. But we both unify behind the fact that we both love drum and bass, and we love different types of drum and bass as well. What I wanted to try and do is like show that there are these two kind of different like worlds. So by bringing Brad into the video at the end, we get to start like making that connection. He's quite good at shuffle dancing, so I can sort of look at that ahead of the next video and start to sort of like maybe get some ideas about, I don't know, like it's just going to be interesting to see the way that he moves. Like, is he trying to save energy? Is he trying to burn more energy? Plus the last song by Ruth Royal and Makoto is like, it's so like positive. It didn't seem right for me to like continue raving on my own through that one because I don't know, it just didn't feel like, I don't know, it's just a positive like track, you know what I mean? So the last thing, I've basically got to have 2 capsules of L-theanine because they take around apparently 1 hour or so to sort of take some sort of effect. So I have these now. So that's that. 2:37. So we'll start the rave at like, you know, 3:15 or 3:30 or something like that. And these videos, what I'm doing is I'm actually doing it in exactly the order that it's done. Yeah, I know like when people make videos, they're like, oh, he probably shot that on like 2 weeks before, and it's like, no, I literally am doing it this. I have no idea if that studio is going to be free, but it has to be authentic. So everything that happens how it is, you know what I mean? Just like last time, I'm going to get my stuff and head off. So caffeine, 300 milligrams of caffeine is a relatively large amount of caffeine, but it's not, they take it much higher when they're looking at sort of sports performance and things like that. But it's definitely a ergogenic level of caffeine, like as in it has a functional sort of level that goes a little bit beyond just the kind of mental arousal that you get from like your standard kind of double espresso that you'd probably get like 80 to 120 milligrams. So the caffeine basically blocks adenosine receptors in the brain. So rather than adenosine going into those receptors and making you feel more fatigued, the caffeine blocks it instead, leaving you with a higher ratio of sort of like arousal, let's say. What the L-theanine does is it blocks up the glutamate receptor so that there's a higher sort of like activity going on within the GABA receptors, and GABA going into those receptors and then affecting how the neurons function. And so what you end up with is a sort of down regulation of the action potential in the neuron. So basically the difference between the polarization on the inside and the outside of the neuron is limited. So you end up with like a more calm feeling. So the reason for taking the CBD oil is slightly different to the L-theanine. The L-theanine, I'm taking it based on what I've read about the fact that it's the down regulation of action potential across the neuron, or across the neuron membrane, right? But then the CBD is a little bit different. The endocannabinoid system was only discovered like a few decades ago or something like that, and there's these 2 receptors, CB1 and CB2. The endocannabinoid system governs certain things in the body related to immune function, pain. The particular reasons why I'm taking CBD ahead of this is because it changes things like the 5-HTP1A receptor, which basically is related to the sort of amount of serotonin in your body. I used to take 5-HTP in order to increase melatonin and serotonin when I used to work at night. The CBD seems to have an effect on sort of pain thresholds. It seems to have a positive effect on things like anxiety. It seems to make people more relaxed. In theory, my sort of serotonin levels could possibly be higher after I've taken the CBD. And you know, because I've been training quite hard and I've been like doing lots of this kind of shuffle stuff, which I'm not used to, my feet are actually kind of like painful, my calves. So I'm hoping the CBD will actually help me to sort of like work through some of that discomfort. If I have the L-theanine at quite a high level, that's going to down-regulate the action potentials across the neuron. If I have CBD, that's going to increase things like serotonin, but also possibly decrease my sense of pain. And then if we combine that with the caffeine, which is going to block up the adenosine receptors, then I'm going to be able to experience kind of like a combination of like energy, but focused energy with reductions in pain, and also potentially a little bit more like happiness. So that's kind of like the theory behind like using these 3 in conjunction with each other, like caffeine, L-theanine and CBD. So in theory, 2 double espressos is going to be roughly like 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Hit the green button first.
Hit the green button. Do you want one?
I'm sweet. Have you got pre-workout for me?
I've got it.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Alright, fine. This is Brad holding the camera, by the way. They already know roughly who you are. Yeah, so the caffeine takes about 15 minutes to kick in, roughly speaking. The CBD oil has the same sort of thing as well. That's why it's done in this order. That's why you have the L-theanine about an hour before, and then the caffeine and CBD 15 minutes ahead. One's not enough. You need to have two. So I don't actually recommend having 2 double espressos, by the way. This is purely for like an experimental thing that I'm doing. So it's not like I go around recommending this to my PT clients. I have 2 double espressos, you know what I mean? It's like, it is a bit silly, but it's just for the purpose of this, to offset, the theanine and the CBD. For a video like this, you may as well just try and, push the boundaries a little bit more. But generally speaking, I wouldn't bother having this much caffeine. It's not really necessary most of the time. Okay, so I'm just going to make that clear. I don't want anyone assuming, extrapolating this action out to like all of my clients and stuff. I don't tell anyone to do this. It's just for the experiment. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's 2 espressos. Then there's the green stem CBD. So I need to put in 3 of these into here. And then this concludes the nootropic stack. Okay, so in terms of how it tastes, doesn't really taste too bad, Alright, so cheers. Okay, so that's 15 minutes for all 3 nootropics to take effect. After that, I should be in a state of sort of focused energy, in theory. Neurons in the body will be firing differently, potentially more serotonin. We'll do a bit of a warm-up, try and get the blood flow going a little bit as well, and then the experiment will start. Screen recorder's on, the polar is on, music's good to go, so 3, 2, 1.
Twisted words won't let me know. Deep inside, only we know. We can't let go.
7.
Something about you that gets stuck in the bloodstream. You get stuck in my head.
All right, there it is.
Maximum effort.
All right, so that was experiment number 2. Liquid drum and bass, 300 milligrams of caffeine, 800 milligrams of L-theanine, and 300 milligrams of CBD. Yeah, it felt quite different, more kind of grounded, definitely a lot more chilled out, like a lot more close to what you'd want to do if you wanted to like chill, wind down for the week, and sort of like just take the edge off from like work and stuff. Brad will probably be on experiment number 3. This is Brad, he's the guy who's been doing the mixes for the warm-ups and obviously like helping me out massively. The reason why it's interesting is because like I'm super like nutrition and fitness, and you're like basically your fitness is raving.
Yeah, standard, like not really like health orientated in a way. Like I don't watch my diet or like I don't train regularly, but like every weekend or at least like once a weekend I try and at least go to a rave or something. Maybe like from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. so 6-7 hours of just like this straight music, drum and bass like that all night long.
So the thing is like technically that is way more cardio than someone will do.
And it's in one like short
in one go.
As well,
yeah, because people would be like, if I say to someone, I go to 3 spin classes a week, that would be like quite a lot.
Yeah.
But that's 45 minutes times 3.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever.
You're there for another 3-4 hours of rave extra.
So technically, your cardio is higher than. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but no one
3 times spin a week.
Yeah.
All
Well, you're like,
into one
well,
day
if you're doing like 8 hours, that's like more than 8 spin classes, basically.
a week.
So next time what I'll do is I'll get 2 of these chest straps.
Yeah.
And then
We both see what the results.
yeah.
Jump straight and then jump.
Just start doing it.
Go.
Yeah.
1, 2.
1, 2.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
You're leaning this way, leaning other way.
Okay, so yeah, I'll tell you what it is, because I go like that.
Yeah,
And then
that's
it
it.
feels like
You're trying to incorporate other moves into
that's
it.
it. My brain
So
is
when
like,
the first move I ever learned to shuffle with is called extend.
oh yeah, pull it back in again.
Yeah. Put it back in again. No, but away.
Kick out.
Yes.
Okay.
And then again.
Then I need
in.
to go in. Out. Then I need to go out.
And then drop it down.
And I need to go in.
Yeah, out.
And then
Send it.
out.
Yeah. And then out.
And then out.
Speed it up a bit.
Okay.
In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Yeah, mate, look at that. Well, I don't think about it now. You're thinking about. No, you had it on my foot. Yes, but the thing is, you're using muscles differently now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So your balance, like your body doesn't know how to deal with that balance. So
Yeah.
same, I'm used to that. No. Jump the other way.
And then out.
Yeah. And then cross it on your left foot.
In.
And then jump on your right and kick out.
Jump onto my right. Kick out.
Kick out. Yeah.
And then in. And then out.
Yes!
Okay, I need to go in.
Yeah.
Out.
Yes, Felix.
I need to go in. I need to go out.
Yes,
I need
Felix.
to go in. I need to go out. Go in. And out. Go in. And out. And then in. And then out.
Yes! But that's it. Yeah.
Alright. Hold on.
You're the man. You actually had it. What?
Okay.
I can teach.
This is good.
So done for both of us.
Okay, I understand it now, right? Okay, so